Welcome to Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. Joey here up in the Caribou Mountains with a little look at the weather this weekend. My big concern for Western Canada is thunderstorm activity. That includes British Columbia, although not for the same reasons. It will include more eastern regions of Western Canada. There's extreme heat going on in the prairies, unbelievable heat, well into the 30s and through next week, and they're going to have rounds of successive severe thunderstorms. That heat's been making for wildfire explosions into Manitoba, especially had some really big blow-ups yesterday. Very concerning, and all the lightning that's coming at them is going to make for more fire starts. We do have that threat in the Caribou this weekend. We do have that threat in the Peace this weekend. Let's get to all the details. Let's go. There it is.
This is bad news. My God.
Falling out right now.
Anything could happen.
Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later. They try mopping this. If you don't mind hitting like, share, subscribe, that keeps me in business. It keeps me alive. There's nobody else in the British Columbia interior who's going to give you fire weather forecast the way I will and thunderstorm forecast the way I do. There's a few other people in Western Canada, but they're all my friends too. So you should just hit subscribe and join me and join the party. Okay, let's get on with the details. Coming in today, here's what we're seeing out in the Pacific Ocean right now. As you can see off the coast of California, there's a lot of high pressure that's making for a block, so moisture can't really come any further south. We have a upper level low pattern still up in the Gulf of Alaska. Secondary kind of weak low, it looks like they're feeding general gloominess into BC, keeping us cloudy, keeping us on the down weather, keeping the sun not consistently out, keeping temperatures down, keeping fire weather behavior. Fire behavior is down because of these weather conditions. So although things are pretty dry, we're not seeing really active fire behavior in British Columbia right now, and that's not, of course, the case in the prairies. Well, we'll go up to the jet stream there because that is the weather delivery system for us. And one thing that you're going to see here is the ridging really looks into the prairies, moving towards eastern Canada over the next bunch of days. While here in BC, we remain on the north side of that jet stream. We remain on the cool, crappy weather side of that upper level low. That's good for us, although it's not bringing us the precipitation we need. We really aren't counteracting how much at risk we are of developing drought conditions and whatnot into this summer again here in the province. It's not enough to counteract, but it's at least keeping fire behavior down for now, and it does give us the promise that perhaps this summer, it should say June, where you could have a January. It gives us the promise that there's enough moisture still coming straight into the coastal section of BC, feeding us in that we might benefit from heavy rain in June. That's still the hope yet, but I don't have evidence to support that necessarily beyond the fact that this upper level low pattern just keeps sort of established there. If it does break and we get the ridging on our side and we start coming on that, that could happen at some point, but I'm not seeing it in the next 2 weeks necessarily yet. We're going to continue with these down conditions. While you look at that ridging, some of the temperatures into the prairies, some are thinking 36 degrees on Tuesday is possible in Winnipeg. Like, come on, that's May 12th, is it? That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. May 12th, May 13th, to have that kind of temperatures up into the prairie. It's really wild. It's really wild. And of course, that's making for extreme fire behavior out there. Meanwhile, for us in BC, though, that upper level low pattern just feeding in, and you can see kind of the gloominess. Half the province isn't exactly warm, so the warmest sections, and they're just down in that southeast corner. And for the rest of us, we have some showers move through. Sunday, we could see some of these turn into thunderstorms, these little areas along here, along the Rockies, possibly a little bit in the Caribou, some lightning strikes. And, so we don't have good weather for active fire burning, for fires to stand up and really do crazy things. So that's good. But I am still concerned that we could have a bunch of lightning starts out there that just sort of creep around for a while. And then if we do get ridging, we do get a warm day, suddenly you're going to have fires that no one knows about out in the wilderness all over the place standing up. I'm particularly concerned about the Northeast because there's not a lot of precipitation that's been coming for them. They're very dry. They already have fires burning up there, a number of them. And we've had so many years of the Northeast being dry and burning. We'd really like to see more of this be rain for them. But no, there is that risk of lightning in there, and the rain is not going to visit the whole region across the board. Meanwhile, you look at southern BC on Monday, and it's rain on the Alberta side, snow up in the high mountains. It's not. People are trying to call me there, and it's really distracting. Okay. Snowy in the high country in southern BC. Could you see some snow into Monday? in the Coquihalla Pass, in through the Revelstoke corridor, going in towards Alberta. That's really possible. Even in the Highway 16 corridor, you could see some sloppy driving conditions through that time into Tuesday morning. So it's really a tale of differences in that way, because you can see how warm it is out in the prairies. We go to Sunday and look in the afternoon. Very warm Winnipeg, up to 34. Crazy 34. Go the next day, 34s in Winnipeg on Monday. Regina, really hot. Alberta finally starting to cool down a little bit. Really hot still on Tuesday and then that's moving into Northern Ontario now. Really warm. Moosonee, 29 degrees. This is nuts, people. This is absolutely friggin' bonkers. I can't tell you enough how shocking these temperatures at this time of year in those places are. Hey, if Southern Ontario hits 30 degrees on May 14th, I'm not too surprised. If you have a day where in Southern Alberta it gets to 30 in early May or 2, you might say, wow, that's anomalous. But, to see Winnipeg get into a full week of heat, and even by next Thursday, only starting to work itself out there a little bit at that time before conditions cool down for you. But what's that going to mean for them is a lot of thunderstorms, of course, right? So let's try to look at the big precip picture and get kind of a deal on what we're looking at this weekend. So we have unsettled conditions in the northern BC. You can see that moisture, like I was showing you, just feeding off that upper level low, just coming straight into the coast there. Good stuff. Some of those snow up in the mountains there beyond Juneau. A little bit of snow possible up in the Yukon. Yeah, that's not out of the question. Been very windy in Manitoba at times. Yesterday it was very hot, very dry air. The humidity is very low. Fire behavior has been very active there, and it's concerning that we're starting to see like a pattern of regular routine thunderstorms come up, and some of those will reach up into the higher portions of the province. Meanwhile, look at that snow up in the northwest section of BC Saturday morning. Going to get a good dump for you up there in those coast mountains. Even Whitehorse might see a little bit of flurries. Congratulations. But that even is the same for some of the high country in the Rockies and coast mountains as well, as you can tell there, right? So a little bit of precip across the board. And here we are at 1600 hours. We're going to focus on BC for a minute, because we have this one in the South Caribou that's possible on Saturday afternoon, where you're seeing thunderstorms more or less in the 100-mile house area, give or take either side, right? We'll watch what they do here. And there's going to be a bunch still up in the Peace still, especially on Sunday for you there. So there's the lightning chances, but some good precip into the mountains, so that's nice for us there. Backtrack to Saturday afternoon here. Dry conditions up in the Peace, 16 in Dawson Creek. Pretty warm up there, pretty warm. And we're going to watch some of this moisture as it comes into that dry sector on Sunday. It's going to make for some thunderstorms on Sunday. We'll watch that precip moving down through the Rockies, moving south. So you can see some snow if you're driving across into Alberta. You could come across snow if it's the right time at night there by Sunday morning, Saturday night, right? Same with the coast mountains. Could you see some snow up in the Coquihalla early Sunday morning? Yeah, it's entirely possible. Some good rains, soaking rains on the coast. Nothing significant in terms of numbers, like not like heavy rainfall. It's not like pounding in any way, but look at this all around Fort St. John on Sunday morning. You could see intermittent thunderstorms, popcorn storms. Some of these aren't going to be particularly rainy. In fact, this looks like an expansion of thunderstorm possibilities all through the north. So I'm really concerned about that. Look at that. Fort Smith, Uranium City, high level thunderstorms all across there, all across that northern boreal forest where we've had so much fire behavior problems, so much fire activity over the last bunch of years, big fires, ones that took incredible amounts of resources to put down. These are not what we want to be seeing. There are thunderstorm outbreaks up there going on Sunday afternoon. So that's the story for the Peace, more or less. Be ready on Sunday afternoon for fresh fire starts. Although, again, behavior from the fire activity, fire activity won't be crazy, but new starts are a possibility. If you see them smokes, call them in. Okay, so now we're back into the bigger picture here and just looking at how this low into Monday morning into the prairies, still breaking for lots of lightning first thing in the morning up into a lot of this wooded area already as you're getting up past Lake Winnipeg and getting into northern Ontario. As you move north of Saskatoon, you're getting into forest country where we could see wildfire starts up there. It's been so warm. Regina 27, Winnipeg 33 at this point on Monday. Fire weather, fire behavior. So the PA, where we've had a lot of evacuations now, there's a big fire going on up there in Manitoba. More lightning in the area means more fire starts. We got at least a good soaking of rain from Meadow Lake, Saskatchewan across to Edmonton at that time on the upside of that low. So some of you will benefit from this, but some of you will not. Some of you will be in this dry sector where it's going to be a lot more lightning, maybe some localized rain. That would be great. Localized, it's concerning how the new fire starts that are possible. And this is a repeat pattern for the prairies into the next bunch of days. So next week, we're going to have to really look at next week and see what's going on there, because it's going to be story as we get into that thunderstorm pattern for them. Look at this on Tuesday afternoon. Coming up from the Dakotas, big time. Going to see some gnarly weather moving into Manitoba at that time. Fire starting weather. So it's not over for you at all for a little while, Manitoba. Hopefully some precip will come after all this, but you got a week of hot weather. You're going to have a week of active fire behavior. You're going to have a week of stories, of pictures on the internet of big fire columns and stories of people evacuating and things that are crazy like that. That's coming to you, especially Manitoba, and somewhat for Saskatchewan too. We do have that risk of fire starts. Look at this Wednesday up in the far north of Saskatchewan, up by Fort McMurray. Fire start possibility. Strong storms to the Dakotas again on Wednesday afternoon. I'm going to visit the southern prairies. Those will be other severe topics next week to talk about. Like, are we going to see tornadoes in some of these? That kind of stuff. We'll get to that more specific forecasting, I think, next week. For now, that's, more or less what we're talking about over the next, what are we looking at for this next week out from here, just to give you an idea. And then again, Thursday afternoon, as that system starts to finally draw eastward, bringing that heat to the east and then bringing that cool air in behind, that will settle things down in Manitoba a little bit at that time. You're going to see probably a drastic weather change, and some precip will come through. You might even have snow up through Churchill and whatnot, right? So that should dose fires good enough to at least settle things down for a little bit. Well, in BC, we really just remain in this sort of cool, crappy pattern a lot next week. We do have moments where I think we could see thunderstorms, and Monday being one of those days. So we'll be coming back to look at Monday for BC interior. Some good news there with some of these heavier rain totals. Some bad news with, for the next little while, there's going to be a lot of fire stories in Manitoba, and of course some good news, of course, with some of the rain that's going to come in behind it and the cooler temperatures. So you're gonna have to brave out a week here, Manitoba. You're gonna have to brave out a week here, Saskatchewan, and be ready for lots of wild things to happen there fire wise. We're just seeing minimal fire activity in northeastern BC today still. So again, the fire weather isn't conducive to really intense burning right now, even in northern BC, despite the fact conditions are dry. But it's also not conducive to putting the fires out. They're going to keep going up there, waiting for their moment to get some heat and get up and start doing things like this one outside Edmonton's been doing, up near northwest of Fort Saskatchewan, up towards the Redwater. Been a big fire story this week there for them. Concerned about that, but the weather is going to be down for you in Edmonton. You got rain coming for you soon, so that's going to help you. Some of these bigger fires here, Narrow Hills Provincial Park, some of these bigger fires in Saskatchewan are really enjoying the heat, really enjoying the low humidex values, right? So that's what we're concerned about over here on the Manitoba side. This is really bad, right? So this First Nation's now getting surrounded by this fire. We've been really concerned about this behavior. We've watched it kind of go north this week. That was one of the concerns, is that if it goes north, well, maybe it just provides more flank. But at the same time, it's like, well, you'd rather see it go this way than go this way off the bat. But more and more, Opisquayak, Cree First Nation is not looking like it's in good conditions. And active fire weather, really active fire weather up there by the PA, Manitoba. These are big fires now. There's a lot of fire activity, and it's only going to get worse for the next bunch of while down by Lake Manitoba. Big fire activity there on that southeast flank. So, we're in trouble here in Manitoba. We're in trouble with some of these fires. You got more lightning coming. You have more fires coming towards you. You're going to have to be brave for a little while, because it's going to be a bit of a battle for the next little while to get through all these different fire starts that are going to be happening, and to keep up with all the fire activity, especially as you get up into the boreal forest, the Canadian Shield, this, that, and whatever. Hope that gives everyone a pretty very quick, solid look at what to expect this weekend with the thunderstorms, and just keep in mind, hey, there's always ebb and flow. Like there's some good news here, there's some bad news. I'm not trying to scare everybody, just trying to tell you what times to be ready and what times to not. For us in BC, we do have a bunch of lightning coming this weekend that we'll be trying to monitor on Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers and here in the channel. We'll do our best to keep you informed. Hit like, share, subscribe, join Interior Weather and Wilderness Watchers if you haven't already. But also another thing I want to show you. I can't thank one of my viewers enough who has helped me replace my aging Kestrel with a new Fire Weather Meter Pro Kestrel. This is going to really, really significantly change how good I feel about giving spot weather forecasts out there in the fire line. Last year, I didn't feel like my anemometer was spinning enough, for how much wind was coming through. I was like, man, it's getting old. It's not spinning enough. I'm not getting accurate readings, and it's like I'm standing next to a ministry guy who's got probably this exact model in his hand. And he's like, oh, I'm getting 25. I'm like, yeah, I'm getting 19 because my wheel's not spinning enough. And it's, I can't really go commit a weapon like this to battle if it's not working accurately, because what am I there trying to do if I'm spot forecasting or storm chasing for that matter? Having this equipment with me will really drastically change what I can do in the field, what knowledge will be available in my hands directly. And I really couldn't have survived or built this channel without everyone's help and support and love and encouragement. So I can't thank all of you enough. You kept me going and got me through to yet a new level here with where I'm trying to go, in terms of more subscribers and more activity and more ad revenue coming in and more support. I feel like I've crossed into another next level over the last little while again. And every step of the way has been painful here to get there. But thank you all enough. You've all made it happen. Okay, we'll talk to you soon. Have a great weekend, everyone. Bye now.